This is the Daily Pulse. I'm Travis Zimmerman from Speak My Word Ministries. The episode today is entitled, It's All Downhill From Here. And I'm taking that as a reference to King Solomon. As we know, King Solomon was King David's son, and he was the successor to the throne for King David. And David was a man of war, Solomon was a man of peace. But yet there was a common thing that linked them. They had a love for the Lord, but there was also something else. They both reached a zenith of their worldly influence. For David, his moment was that moment just before he saw Bathsheba and invited her to be with him. And at that point, it's all downhill. Like father, like son. Solomon was given the wish in 1 Kings 3 from God, ask me for whatever you want me to give you, and I will give it to you. And Solomon asks not for wealth, not for the death of his enemies, but for wisdom to rule God's people. And God was so delighted, he said, hey, I am going to give you what you asked for. I'm going to give you that wisdom to rule my people. But I'm also going to give you what you haven't asked for, and that's for wealth, and that's for wisdom, and also for the death of your enemies. He's going to give you those things. But the condition was this, that he would follow God all the days of his life, that he would obey his commandments and laws. And for much of Solomon's life he did, but as he intermarried, he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. I tell my kids girlfriends, we use that term. So he had 1,000 ladies, and over time, it's not that Solomon can, it's their fault. It squarely resides on his shoulders. We make those decisions. Solomon's head began to turn away from God, and worshiping the Baals and the Ashtoreths and Chemosh and all these other gods that weren't God. And we read here in 1 Kings chapter 11, verses 9 to 10. The Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart had turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. Although he had forbidden Solomon to follow other gods, Solomon did not keep the Lord's command. 1 Kings chapter 11, verses 9 to 10. And that is, we read about this. This is an antiquity. Let's take that today. We don't have a kingdom, per se. Not like these gentlemen did. But God has given us a fair, varying degrees of influence, and we are not in a works-based salvation. But really, the more we follow God, the more we honor His commands, honor His laws, honor His ways. That brings God joy. And He blesses us. Now, He does bless us with trials. But if we do choose to sin, if we step, sinning is stepping aside from God, for us, it's all downhill from there, isn't it? It's not that it's an inevitable slide. But remember this, the first rule of holes, when you're in one, quit digging. Quit digging. If you find yourself in a sinful situation, ask God for forgiveness. We don't have to continue to take that downhill slide. We can say, hey, God, I am sinning in this way. Would you please forgive me? Father, please. That's the God we serve, a God who is infinitely compassionate, infinitely loving, infinitely wonderful. Jesus, thank you for that in your name. Amen.